Are you ready to take your business to the next level and make the money you want so that you can create the impact you desire? Then you're in the right place. It's possible to run a successful business built around your life. Get ready for a little bit of tough love and a whole lot of strategy to grow your business without sacrificing your sanity. If you're ready to get out of your own way and step into the role of CEO, then let's go. I'm Amy Traw, and this is the Motivated CEO Podcast. LinkedIn. What do you think? Is it one of those platforms that you absolutely love? You're meeting people, building relationships, growing your network. Or is it one of those platforms you hear LinkedIn and you're like, oh, that's B2B. My people are not there. One more thing. Well, today's guest, Janice Porter, is a relationship marketing specialist and LinkedIn guru. She works with business professionals to increase their sales by building relationships online and nurture them offline. She is here to demystify this whole beast of LinkedIn for us, squash those myths, and really teach us how to leverage it as a powerful resource in our businesses to attract clients, to build those relationships, and to help us thrive as entrepreneurs. Janice, thank you so much for joining me today.
Oh, my pleasure, Amy. Thank you for having me. I'm excited. Love to share
Yes.
my take on LinkedIn with people.
Exactly. So let's dive right in. I feel like LinkedIn, we were talking before we hit record, people have a love-hate relationship. They love it, they hate it. They're like, it's just B2B. What is your opinion? Is LinkedIn a platform that can be used to really attract clients, to build these relationships and grow our businesses?
Absolutely. But to use a word that you like to use, you have to be intentional, right? First, you have to understand the basics of it. And if you're going to jump in and use LinkedIn, I always say two things. One, do a good job of your profile, make it work for you. And secondly, know that you may have potential clients, referral partners, strategic partners there that can help you with your business. And so if you know that and you know who they are and you've identified them, then you know that you can be intentional in building, in reaching out to find those relationships.
You are speaking my love language because having that clarity is often one of the biggest missing pieces for entrepreneurs. We
Mhm.
want to be for everyone, but taking the time to establish that clarity and unpack exactly who it is that your services are for, taking the
Right.
time to do that can be a game changer. And as you said, the intentionality being intentional. If LinkedIn's going to be another thing on your list where you're just consuming, no,
Yeah.
this isn't going to work for you. But you said something about engagement, actively and intentionally using the
Mhm.
platform for engagement. So let's back up a little bit.
Mhm.
Who should be on LinkedIn?
Yeah, basic but really good question, right? Because I think really the generic answer is if you're in business, you need to have a presence on LinkedIn. And I don't know if your audience knows this, but and LinkedIn is a different beast to Instagram and Facebook. They all have their own flavor, right? And the thing about LinkedIn, it is B2B, but I'm going to just back up a little bit before I answer the question in that during COVID, there was a real exodus from Facebook with a lot of people to LinkedIn because Facebook was losing, it wasn't doing what we wanted it to do. And so I found a lot more smaller businesses and entrepreneurs, coaches, consultants were coming over, but they still thought it was Facebook and they had all these emojis happening and all of this. It isn't that, but it is somewhere that small business owners, coaches, consultants, and so forth can hang out initially because if you meet somebody or they Google you, which people still do when you meet them for the first time, whether it's online or in person, LinkedIn ranks really highly in the Google searches. So the results will come up in the top 3 to 5 results. So whether it's good or bad, your profile is going to be there. So you want it to give the best first impression if people are going to look at it. So to me, that's the basis of LinkedIn. So you've decided you're going to go on LinkedIn, you're going to create a profile that fills all the boxes, and in doing so, attracts your audience. So why else should you be on LinkedIn? Because what I said before, your possible clients, referral partners, strategic partners are there.
That is an excellent point. Absolutely. Because yes, people are still using Google. People are still searching. And you're right, it always pops up near the top of the results. So they're going to be seeing your profile if you're
Right.
on there. So that's why it's so important, as you said, to optimize that and really make it work for you.
Well, can I just give a brief example? So, when you
Please.
go to somebody's profile, what do you see? You see their banner behind the first thing you see is, and a lot of them are blank, the default blue background. You see their headshot and you see their name and their headline. Those are the things you see as a first impression. How long do we get today to make a good first impression? What, 7 seconds or maybe less now? You blink and you've already had that first impression. So that's where it starts. But of course, it's more than that, but that's the first impression, and that's really important. Okay. So I would suggest that your listeners, if they're on LinkedIn now, they go and do that. They look at their profile from somebody seeing it for the first time. Do they get a good first impression or not?
Yeah, just taking that outside perspective can really make a big difference. And it's such a simple thing to do. Looking at something from the eyes of the consumer,
Right.
getting that different perspective can make a huge, huge difference. What other simple tweaks can we make to really optimize our profile?
Great question, too. I think that I like when I'm teaching or when I'm doing LinkedIn training, I'm working with my client, not for them. Like I'm not doing it for them. So I actually, one of the things I love to do the best is work on the about section, which is really the meat of the LinkedIn profile. And there are many mistakes that are made in doing that, especially with business owners, entrepreneurs, because that is a misnomer that it's about you. It's really about who you serve and the pain points or the solutions that you bring to those pain points. So you're helping if people are reading that, they're then able to say, oh, she's talking my language, or I think I want to know more. I want to reach out and see if it is a fit for me. Or, whatever the reason is, but it's a good overview of, how they can help me and the benefits I may have of working with that person. So I love to bring out, the things in the clients I'm working with that light them up so that we can put that into that section. And then it's about really filling in as much as you can of your profile so that the people who are paying attention, like me, are looking for a point of building rapport if I'm going to want to talk to that person. So they're looking at the minor stuff. They're looking at where they volunteer. Do they like animals? Are they a football fan or are they a hiker? Whatever those things are only in there in small little places that if someone's paying attention, they'll find them. And they're usually the better points to start with instead of jumping right into, talking to a stranger about, gee, I may be able to help you because I have, this product or that service. No, we want to build rapport first. And those little things mean a lot.
Yeah, people buy from people. It comes down to that. And we often forget that. We're so focused on the thing that we're selling that we forget that people buy from people. And nothing makes me cringe more than when I get those cold DMs like,
Yeah.
you need to buy my thing. And it's like, wait, who are you?
Yeah.
There's
And how do you
no
know I need
rapport.
to buy it?
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. How do you personally navigate that? Because that's something that I've talked to a few people and they're like, I won't get on LinkedIn because I get too many cold DMs from people trying to sell me things. What's your perspective?
Well, I think part of that comes from not being visible enough yourself and sort of staking your claim on there. See, I think LinkedIn has three sections. The first one is the profile, and we've talked about that. The second one, for my liking, is the DMs. It's the outreach. It's the knowing how to search effectively to find the kind of people that you want to connect with. And so that's the intentionality piece. That's like, don't leave it up to the people reaching out to me to make it work. You do the outreach to make it work for you. And then you can handle the inbound message requests or the DMs that are pitching you stuff by just, ignoring them, or by messaging someone back and saying thanks, but not interested, or unconnecting from that person. You can do that too. That's fine. It's just interesting that, well, sometimes you're not connected. They're in mails, but which means that they can reach you if you're not first level connected. But I think if you focus on the things that it can do for you, it helps to offset that, because let's face it, we get those on all the different platforms, right? And then the third piece is content. It's to build your visibility, show your authority in your field. And LinkedIn seems to like that the best because they can control that. So if you're posting content occasionally, it'll send your article or your post to whomever on from your connection base. But if you're doing it more regularly and consistently, it will broaden that through the algorithm. The algorithms are what they are. You can't say, well, it doesn't work because it never goes to anybody. You just have to work with what they give you and be consistent. That's really key.
Yeah,
So, yeah.
it really is. It is about consistency. Consistency, and something else you mentioned too was the outbound engagement, that outreach, actually being an active participant on the platform rather than just scrolling. If you're just posting all the time and scrolling, chances are that algorithm isn't going to show your things to many people because you're not engaging.
Right. Now, I will say for newcomers that don't want to or aren't comfortable yet doing regular posting on there, it's even good to scroll, but limit yourself to your time on there, and but scroll intentionally. Again, that word is so good, because you want to perhaps be following 10 people that you really want to then maybe get to know a little bit better and reach out to connect with. So if you go to, and they're posting regularly, you become the commenter, you engage with people on their posts. That's a really good strategy to get you started, because remember, then you're going to be seen by their audience, right? And so then conversations will start that way. So if you know who you want to reach out to, I had an interesting thing happen to me just the other day. I have had an issue with this piece on LinkedIn that's about verifying yourself. And I wrote it in my newsletter, and then I decided to make a post about it 2 days ago. And it's actually been one of the most seen posts that I've done in a long time. And that's because it was personal. It was about LinkedIn, but it was something that was annoying me and I'm having to deal with. You may see if anyone looks at my profile, and it depends when this airs and when this happens, because in order to verify yourself on LinkedIn, which they keep encouraging you to do, you have to have your legal name up there. And my legal first name is Susan, but I've never in my life used that. And but it's on my passport, it's on my driver's license. So I couldn't get verified. So I decided I'd try it. So I put Susan up there in bracket. I hate it that it's up there. It's really annoying me. But I've had a lot of engagement with people about this. And I'm going to give it a month, and then I might get rid of it because it just doesn't feel right. Okay. However, somebody commented, and I don't know this person. We were not directly connected, but he made a comment and I saw, and so I went to see who he was. And turns out he knows several people that I know. He's on my same time zone, which is often a good thing. And he does work that might parallel and support what I do. So I thought he might be an interesting guy to talk to. So just from that comment, and I responded to that, engaged back with him, and then he reached out to connect with me. And so I asked him, how he found me, and or I said, I see you know this person. Have you done work with him? And he said, no, I've talked to him several times, but that's how I found him was on your podcast. Well, I didn't know he was a listener of my podcast, so I love him already, right? So just interesting the way things can happen if you're out there doing the right things, talking to people.
It really is. What
Yeah.
an interesting story. Now, is there benefit to verifying yourself? Because I see
Well,
that all the time. It's one of those things that do we do it? Do we not do it? Because it involves a few different steps that you have to scan in documents
yeah,
and
it's not that big a deal, but the reason that I'm doing it now to test it, because I tried it where I put my name up there a few months ago and I um got verified, and then I took my first name off there the next day and they unverified me. I don't think it's the end of the world, and I think after this month I will probably take it down and not worry about it. I felt a bit creepy when I first did it because you have to put your information in there, but I know it's with a company that uses I think it's called Clear. I think they're
okay.
affiliated with them, that do the thing at the airport, right, where you can fast track.
Right. The information's out there all over the place, all of the
Mhm.
time. So it's just a matter of being an informed consumer and making the
Yeah,
decision.
but I wouldn't worry about it. If it's a big, if it is like for me a big deal, then right. But if it isn't, you know, I wouldn't worry about it.
Sure. And this brings up a great point that you get to control your experience on these platforms. Like
Yes,
you
you do.
said, you can unconnect from someone if that
Yeah.
experience isn't going how you would like.
Right.
You get to control how much you are consuming, how much you're creating, how much you're engaging. And like you
Yeah.
said, by just putting yourself out there and making a comment on someone's post, other people see you. It creates this ripple effect. And that's truly what all of these platforms were originally intended for, was to connect. I mean, look at Facebook, and Mark Zuckerberg back in college, and now LinkedIn, it's to link us together. And we
Mhm.
forget that so easily.
Yeah, I think initially with LinkedIn, it was more corporate and it was more about finding jobs, but it definitely isn't that completely anymore. It's so much more. And what I'm finding now is there's a real trend to using AI to help us make. So when you talk about engagement and commenting on people's posts, you see people doing their scroll and they like your post. It's a waste of time. If you're going to do that, give me some comment that is shows your value, that shows that you're interested in the topic or whatever. And if you can't think of something intelligent, there are tools now that you can, like I've got one that I'm testing on mine where I just click on this button and it will give me a response to that post. And then I can make it my own, but I haven't had to think it up to start with. And it will do it based on the persona that I've created in that platform, so it knows that I'm a relationship marketing person. Sometimes I think it's too, I don't like when it says that, so I take it out, but it gives me a point of view that I can work with, and that helps people easily become involved in commenting, because commenting and reposting are way more important. I think that as I said, I spend more time doing the outreach, looking at people that I want to connect with. And don't forget this, reconnecting with people that you have connected with and don't talk to on a regular basis. Those are warm calls. Those are, hey, it's been a while. I'm making a concerted effort, and this is in the DMs. I'm making a concerted effort to reach out to my connections and see how you're doing. I noticed you changed jobs in the last few months, or are you still doing blah, blah, blah? If you feel the need to reconnect with them for a reason, you could say, would you like to jump on a call next week and just have a catch up? Don't say you're trying to sell them your new product yet. Have that catch up, but it's still a warm outreach, right?
Right. And that
Yeah.
will make you stand out because 99% of people aren't taking the time to do that. We're so focused on getting more and more and more, gaining more and more
Yes.
visibility, more people in our audience, that we forget to connect and reconnect with the people that are already there. I
Mhm.
mean, what a great piece of advice. Take that and run with it. If you are listening to this, you can do this on any platform. Go back and see who you're connected to.
Yeah.
Even over on Instagram, they'll show you your least engaged people.
Oh,
Go
really? Okay.
engage. Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. But something I wanted to highlight too about the AI piece, I think it's awesome. And AI can be such a wonderful tool in our businesses. But you said something that I think is worth noting. It's going in and making it your own.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
not just copy, paste, post.
No,
No,
no.
make it your own, because as consumers, the more and more the AI kind of grows into this beast that
We
it
have to
is.
use it, right?
Right,
We have to pay
exactly.
attention. Yeah.
We do. But I think we can definitely tell who's copying and pasting, because there are very similar
Yeah.
phrases that it will
Yeah.
say and trigger.
Yeah.
It's like, oh boy, that was definitely AI. But what you said is the missing piece: how to make it your own. Go in
Yeah.
there,
It's
tweak
just,
it. It's a starting point.
exactly, exactly. The other thing, if I can just go back. So one, on LinkedIn, you can export your contacts. And when you do that, you get a CSV file with them all on it. So then you can highlight, who do I want to go back to? Who do I want to get rid of? Oh, that person died. I'm so sorry, but they're still in my list, right? So you can do that and then start your outreach based on, color coding or whatever you want to do. I guess I'm going to ask you this question in the sense that when you find somebody new on LinkedIn, do you follow or do you reach out to connect? Because I know, it's that Instagram mentality. On Instagram, it's that you follow. That's it. That's the connection. But it's not the same on LinkedIn. And
Right.
so I don't know. I'm used to on LinkedIn, if I want to talk to someone, I don't want to follow them. I want to reach out to connect. So I just wondered what your thoughts were on that based on, I know
Yes.
you use Instagram a lot.
Right. So what I had heard a while back, and this is kind of what I stuck with, that if I know them, if I met them on a networking call, if
Yeah.
I have had contact with them, I will connect. Or as you
Yeah.
said, if it's someone that, okay, you know what, you would make a really good guest on my
Mhm.
podcast. I really want to talk to you more. Yes, I'll
Mhm.
send out that connection request.
Yeah.
Versus follow, I'll follow some of the bigger names because I
Sure.
want to see some of the things that Mel Robbins is posting and
Yeah.
sharing. I want to see some of the things these industry leaders are, but I don't feel as though a connection request is really necessary because we've never met. I
Well, and
mean,
some of those people you probably can't connect to
right,
anyway because they have
right.
too many connections. However, you said something just then that's a really good point too, which is when it's someone like an influencer like Mel Robbins or Brene Brown or whatever, whoever are your people. A strategy to use for them is to go and comment and be seen on their, that's the example I used before, be seen on their content, because not only will they may not see it, it might be their social media person that sees it, but the people that are on there commenting, they're your people. If you both love Mel Robbins, for example. So now you can start interacting and finding out who those people are and making those new connections, which I think is a really good tactic to use. The thing with people, a really underused strategy is to use video messaging in the DMs. So you can only do it on your phone. That's why I held up my phone. But it then is shown in your messaging list on all your platform, on all your devices. But if you send a video message to somebody, it immediately stands out as, because nobody does it.
I didn't even know you could do it. That's a great
Yes,
tip.
you can only do
That
it from your phone, but you can do it. And so, yes, it's a great tool to use, especially if you're comfortable on video. I still hate doing it, but it's once in a while. It works every time. People
yeah.
go, I was on someone's podcast actually last week, a guy who he's pretty out there with his stuff. And he went, "What?" And then he'd never heard of it either. And he then, after our call, sent me a video message. I sent him one on the call, I think, and then he sent me one back. He was so excited. So yeah, it's definitely a way to stand out.
Definitely. And that's what we need. We need that in this
Yeah.
world where attention spans are shorter than a goldfish now. We need to stand out. Janice, you gave so much value, wisdom, strategy, and really helped to change our perspective of LinkedIn and shared with us how we can use it to attract those aligned clients to get seen amongst the noise. I appreciate you and thank you so much for being here.
My pleasure. Remember, it's not just about attracting, though, it's about reaching out and building those relationships yourself. So
Yes,
definitely. Yeah. Thank
so
you for
good.
having me.
Yes. And until next time, cheers to making the money you want so you can create the impact you desire. Are you loving what you're hearing? Do us a favor and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss an episode.